Sara, it's a pleasure to connect with you again. Thanks for coming on and for this presentation.
Thank you so much, Aaron, for having me today.
You're more than welcome, more than welcome. Well, tell the listeners and the watchers of the video a little bit about yourself.
I've been doing SEO for 10 years now. I've been speaking a lot. I'm very active on LinkedIn. If you're following me on LinkedIn, you've probably came across one of my SEO riddles. That's about it.
Well, you've been certainly participating over the last 10 years, and you're certainly showing, giving a lot of great information in LinkedIn. So make sure you follow Sara on LinkedIn. But at this time, I'm just going to hand it over to you. Go ahead and present to us what we're dealing with in the LLM arena.
Thank you. Hey, everyone. Thank you for being here today. Basically, we keep hearing a lot that SEO is changing. That's actually not true. SEO has changed already. This is our traditional way of doing SEO, right? We are focused on Google and the 10 blue links. We have heavily checklisted workflows for everything. And optimizing basically means we're checking as much items off our checklists, following all best practices. And then we also heavily rely on SEO tools for our data insights, analysis, and so on. Our focus is on three things or three areas: the technical, the on-page, and off-page. That's the classical focus. And the tools and the data we use, as I said, traditional SEO tools and the traditional data we have, like GA4, Google Search Console, off-the-shelf crawlers, tools that are ready for us to do a specific task, obviously Google Sheets. Here's the thing. There is a tornado and things have changed a lot. We have the API leaks and Department of Justice documents. They have revealed so much to us, LLMs and RAG. RAG is like retrieval augmented generation, which is basically retrieving the documents and then generating based off that document, which makes process more grounded in facts. So an AI overviews we're not sure 100%, but it's probably using RAG. So we also have the AI overviews in search now. And we have also the user that their behavior changed. So users' behavior changed in that way they search. They don't necessarily start their search at Google anymore. Maybe they discover a product on TikTok or on Facebook or somewhere else, right? And then the type of content they also consume, it's no longer blogs, or this is not what they expect or only want when they go to Google or any other place. So there's a lot going on. A lot of that is because of AI, right? A lot of things are changing and have changed, and we need to adapt. What does that mean? How does the new SEO look like? So we're no longer just focused on Google. We're also focused on LLMs, YouTube, TikTok, Reddit, Quora. Anything that's taking a space in the search results, any platform, should be part of your SEO strategy. It's no longer about your website and competitors' websites. We're talking about other platforms that you also need to incorporate into your SEO strategy. Yes, we do still need checklists, but we also need to make sure that our processes are agile. What do I mean by that? We need to be able to try new things, adapt quickly in a balanced way, which I'm going to discuss at the end. But there has to be some wiggle room. Don't have those solid strategies or solid checklists where this is the only way you operate across all clients, across their search results, whatever there is. Optimizing, yes, it means following best practices, but it also means testing things out and see what will work for you. Again, I'm going to touch on this later on with the custom click through rate curve. And then just something to remember that a best practice or any tactic, the more it is used, the less impactful it becomes, right? And that's why you need to test things out and get your own insights for your own business, right? We're going to use the SEO tools, obviously, for keyword research and so on, but we also need to make our own tools. And this doesn't have to be very complicated or anything. Again, I'm going to discuss this briefly later. The new buckets, we still have the three main focus areas: technical, on-page, and off-page, but we also now have CRO, user experience. We have discovered from Department of Justice documents and from the API leaks that user behavior is important. It is the magic behind Google search. And then data analysis, it's no longer just what the tool is telling you and those high level insights. Now you need to do your own data analysis and sometimes come up with even a new matrix. And then automation, obviously, if you're not automating, you're missing out. Testing, as I said, it's essential part of what you do. Last but not least, the tools and data, we're still going to use the traditional SEO tools, but then we need, as I said, custom DIY tools for data analysis and automation. LLMs, you'll be surprised how many people do not use LLMs in their day-to-day. I'm not sure when is more people should be doing that, should be using LLMs in their day-to-day. However, we should also know very well when to use LLMs and what for, and not just use them for everything, of course. I'm going to touch on that a bit later. And then some of the tools we should introduce to our traditional tech stack, some of the tools that should be normal for us to use, stuff like Microsoft Clarity, Hotjar, or Lucky Orange. Microsoft Clarity is free, which is surprising, probably collecting data. Anyway, so these tools will help you analyze user behavior on a page and therefore make optimizations that would help you rank better. Let's look at that a bit more in details. So our old playbook is like the Titanic. It's sunk. Okay, here's the quote from Michael King. I really like it. Search as we know it has been irrevocably changed by generative AI. It's changed. Our old ways are not effective anymore or are not enough anymore. We need to update our processes, update our mindset. So let's talk about user experience. Okay, so user experience definitely changed the way we look at SEO. So Department of Justice documents and the API leaks both pointed to many things that show that user behavior on search in the SERPs and on the page itself matter and would impact your ranking, right? Some of these things have been actually said long time ago by people like Rand Fishkin, but a lot of people would push back and didn't believe this. Now we know these as fact. So Google doesn't understand the documents. Google imitates the behavior of understanding. So Google's challenge is basically trying to tell you, you're ordering a cake and Google is trying to serve you the best cake without actually tasting the cake. So how it's going to guess which cake is better? Maybe, the color, does it have fruits on top, the size, the weight, and then it's going to serve it to you and take your feedback, store that, and learn the next time it serves to the other user and so on, and collect all of this aggregate data and make a decision on, this cake is more popular than that cake. Therefore, this cake probably tastes better, right? Without tasting the cake, it's a challenge for Google, of course. So user behavior is essential. And some of the things that were uncovered, things like nav boost and glue. So nav boost is basically how users behave. They specifically click on results in search, right? And things like short clicks and long clicks, which is basically if a user clicks on the result, goes to your page and then bounces back quickly, or do they spend more time? Yes, we have heard over and over the bounce rate is not a ranking factor. Maybe the measurement here is not called bounce rate. Maybe it's called something else. Maybe the way they measure it is a bit different than the way bounce rate is measured. However, the concept is right. The amount of time a user spends on a page is important. We've learned that Google uses Chrome data and clickstream data to determine overall site quality by looking at user behavior. So all of these things show us that user behavior are very, very important. Probably the most important factor when it comes to ranking. Think of ranking as three things: the document itself, the content, what it says about itself, the backlink profile or the authority of that document, what other people are saying, and then how the user interacts with that document. So this is the most important element of ranking, generally speaking. So, the next question would be, hey, Sarah, what should we do about this? Okay, I have this example from Erica and I love it. So what did Erica do? Erica basically used Microsoft Clarity to analyze the behavior of users on a page. And she noticed that they scroll to when users land on a page, they usually scroll to a specific section of a page or use the table of content to jump to a specific section. So all she did literally was restructure the content and push the content that users look for to be more at the start of the content versus having it at the bottom. And within 2 weeks, she has seen 50% increase in traffic. This is big. She had not done any other changes. Just by looking at the behavior of users on the page, she was able to improve the traffic to the page. So why are we not doing this? Why is this not part of our SEO audits and SEO work? We need to have access to those tools and we need to analyze the behavior of the user on the pages as part of our, if you want to call it, on page, or ideally it's a separate bucket of an audit itself, the user experience. Another thing is CTR manipulation. CTR manipulation basically at a high level is when you get bots to imitate user behavior on a search result and specifically click on a result with the intention of manipulating its rankings. So as we said, user behavior in the search result is important. Result they click on is going to impact its ranking. So there is 2 case studies on CTR manipulation. It's something spammy. I do not recommend, of course, doing this. We're just going through those case studies to learn from them the value of CTR. So basically, one website with CTR manipulation actually moved from 34th to 10th position in 22 days without doing anything else other than CTR manipulation. It's also like shared by some SEOs that one of the ways to recover from helpful content update is CTR manipulation. Again, I'm not saying or suggesting you should do this. I'm just telling you the power of having a lot of clicks in search. And this actually aligns with the Department of Justice documents and the Google API leaks. Remember the cake example? Let's say people are picking a specific cake every time. Google will realize this is the most popular cake. If someone comes and asks for a cake, they're probably going to serve this first, right? The thing is, we thought if we improve rankings, we will improve our CTR, right? That's the entire thing. We want to go up in search because the higher we are, the higher CTR we are. But what if it's the other way around, actually? The better our CTR, the higher we go up in search. So this small graph you see here is based off the data from AWR, and it shows the estimated CTR for each location in search, starting position 1 to position 10. However, I searched for what is SEO. This is the numbers for the top 10 results. They're all long form content and they all are directly talking about what is SEO. But if you look at the traffic each page is getting, and this is the traffic for all the keywords related to the topic, not just what is SEO, you'll see that surprisingly, the first result is not getting the most or the highest number of clicks. The third result is actually getting the highest clicks, right? And the fifth is getting the third highest number of clicks. So what does that tell us? It tells us 2 things. If you go to the first place, you may still not get the highest number of clicks. And it also says that CTR will take you up in rankings, but there are other factors. And this is why, even though a page is getting the highest number of clicks, it's still not at the position 1, right? Okay, what to do about CTR? Test different pages, page titles, run those tests. I've left a lot of links throughout this deck to get into the specifics of things. Something that we need to not discuss anymore is whether or not user behavior matter. It matters. The question is, how do we deal with this? Okay. Second thing is, SEO isn't just about Google anymore. If any platform is ranking in search, then it should be part of your strategy. Okay. So there's a lot of search engines and a lot of other platforms. So if you look at this chart, for example, Google is the most traffic referrer on the web. However, DuckDuckGo is as well the second. So why not also look at how we're doing in DuckDuckGo and monitor our performance there? Because maybe we have a higher chance on ranking for a specific term on that search engine versus Google. And another thing is, in the era of 0 clicks, which is basically people seeing the results in search, or maybe they go to a platform, see the result and leave, right? And a platform, I mean, not your website, Twitter, right? Facebook, Reddit, LinkedIn, all of these things. We need to run a tight ship. We need to make sure we're optimizing our SERPs, our CTR and SERPs, and we're optimizing our conversion rate to make sure that every click that comes to our website, it counts. And then we also need to work with the social media people to leverage all those other platforms in a white hat, non-spammy way. Just to be clear, I'm not promoting spam. Again, I'll repeat this again. If any platform is appearing in SERPs, it's now part of your strategy. We will leave no stone unturned. So something else in addition to this, Google likes video because users like video, right? So image is the second largest search engine, and then YouTube or videos, generally speaking, are very popular, and YouTube is the third largest search engine. And in a recent study by Rand Fishkin, YouTube keywords, branded keywords, are the most searched brand keywords on Google. So if you're not there, you're definitely missing out. It has not been any easier to create videos with AI right now. And the same way we recommend blogs, we should try to promote for video production. And I understand that's a blocker for some businesses. They don't create videos. But another thing you can look into, and I usually do if I'm working with a client, is if they have existing video assets on YouTube, let's optimize those and let's pull all the videos of their competitors and analyze those and see what we can learn from there. Remember why video is important. It ranks on Google SERPs, and then it ranks in the video filter on Google, and then you will also have a chance to rank on YouTube. So it's 3 areas, right? Versus your blog is mainly for Google. So the question is, are you auditing your client's YouTube channel and their competitors as part of your strategy? You should, because there's a lot of optimizations opportunities there. If you ask, okay, how should I optimize video for search and for ranking and to get more traffic? That's what you need to work on and create your own checklist, right? Okay, something very interesting I came across. Perplexity is pulling answers from inside a video. So I searched for no makeup, and then I found this, like, it's exactly pulling this answer, this segment of the answer is being pulled from a YouTube video, which is very interesting. That shows you how much this is important. If you're not on YouTube, if you don't have video content, you're missing out big time. So tell me again why video is not part of your content recommendations, right? And as I said, I understand that there may be pushback from businesses because it's not easy to create videos. It is easier today than it used to be in the past. That's one thing. And then the second thing, you can go for more creative ideas like those whiteboard animation videos or whatever. It says an area you should explore. I know it's not easy to get buy-in for that, but as I said, don't leave a stone unturned. And our role as SEOs is to give recommendations. In the same time, in a perfect world, if we have everything we want, this is one thing we would ask for. Okay, so FYI, in AI overviews, the most frequently linked URL was YouTube. Again, if we're having trouble with all this AI tornado coming our way, YouTube, again, is one of the most frequently linked URL. Let that sink in. And then another platform we should look into, or platforms, ChatGPT and LLMs, of course. So in search to rank in Google, we're talking about keywords. In LLMs, the currency is different. Again, Rand Fishkin has a lot of cool stuff there. The currency of LLMs is mentions across training data. This is why this made me pause, like why people want to block LLMs from crawling their websites. Like if you block LLMs from crawling your website, you're not going to be cited there. It's not about, I don't want them to take my information. They're going to get it from somewhere else and cite someone else, right? So this is something you need to think about. One thing, you know how we talk about internal linking? Now we have internal brand mentions. I've seen blogs, for example, where they discuss a topic and they don't mention the brand within the blog, heavily relying on the branding of the website. Like you have the logo, you have the navigation, you have it's obvious what brand this is, but is your brand mentioned in the content where it should be? So that's something to think of. Again, don't do this in a spammy way. So we were talking about keyword stuffing. Now we don't want to switch that to brand stuffing. Don't do that, but just make sure that, it's generally speaking a good practice to link to your products, for example, in blogs where it's relevant, right? And it's also part of CRO and increasing your engagement on a page. So everything is connected together. And then brand mentions generally and in training data are the new backlinks, right? So let's take Reddit, for example. We don't like Reddit because it's taking so much real estate on Google, but it's also making up 4% of the training data for GPT-3, for example, but it has 22% of weight or influence. Do you know how often your brand is mentioned on Reddit? What type of mentions is it there? Are people complaining about your brand? Are people asking questions? You need to have some legitimate presence on Reddit as a brand, not in a spammy way. We're going to touch on this a bit more. So something to think of, right? You need to audit like site operator Reddit and search for your brand, right? You need to see this is training data. You need to be there and you need to be there in the right way. Another thing is pull PAA data from search for your main keyword and put them into ChatGPT, analyze the answers and see, okay, let's say best agencies in Toronto, and then you plug this in ChatGPT and you get the results. Look at the brand mentions of those brands, the brands that ChatGPT came back with, and where they're mentioned, where they're getting links, and see if you can get the same for yourself. And this is where something like automation would come in handy, because you don't want to do this manually, right? You want to plug in a list of PAAs, push them to ChatGPT, pull it back with the answers and analyze this automatically. So this is something that can actually be automated. And that's why I'm saying we need to have our own tools, DIY tools, because if we rely on existing tools, we are heavily limiting ourselves. So this example from Chris Long, it's really, really good. So Chris said they've noticed that at Go Fish Digital, they're starting to get business from referrals from ChatGPT. They went and did search for the digital PR agency there and noticed that ChatGPT is listing some agencies and their agency is there, but other agencies have more information, which is basically notable clients that they don't have. That was like, okay, obviously they want to look good in those results as well. So they went back to their website, found an article that they know that ChatGPT is citing regularly and added a section about notable clients there. And what happened is that within a week, the ChatGPT answer for their agency included the notable client. So yes, you can influence ChatGPT answers, and you should actually make sure that if you're appearing there, you're improving your potential to get referrals. If you're not appearing there, fix that. So this is something part of the new era of SEO. It's, as I said, it's no longer just about Google or just about blogs. You have video content, you have ChatGPT, and so on, and other platforms. And AI overviews, everyone is complaining, 0 clicks, or we're not gonna, it's gonna take away our clicks and so on. I see it as an opportunity versus a threat if you understand how it works. So we think it's like keyword, AI overviews pulls the direct match document of this keyword and then generates the AI overview, which is not the case. So AI overview is a system that doesn't select search results based on one specific query. It can extend to related keywords, recent keywords, implied keywords. So it has a lot of other ways of selecting documents, right? It does not necessarily select the top 10 results, as we all know. So this is an opportunity because you can be ranking on second or third page, but you're still appearing in AI overviews. And this also tells us that the pages ranking in the top 10 are not necessarily the best pages in terms of content. If AI overviews is typing pages on URLs on page 3 versus a result in page 1, that means this one actually has better content. And the reason those pages are ranking on page 1, even though they're not cited in AI overviews, are other factors than just the helpfulness of the content, maybe authority or CTR. People like that result. That means also skyscraper, where you pull the top 10 results and rewrite them, is not really a good idea to appear in AI overviews. And it's not a good idea anymore. You want to have something unique. You want to have something different. So if the top results lack diversity, it can extend its search beyond that. And something that has been shown as well, that there's a direct relation, or there's a relation, and it's debatable. This is debatable. However, there's a relation between the appearance of featured snippets and AI overviews, and there's some overlap. So if you try to go, and featured snippets are used as an AI system, by the way. So if you try to appear in featured snippets, maybe that would help you get in AI overviews as well. Something to think of. This is something that needs also to be part of your strategy. How are you going after AI overviews? How you understand why as a URL that's ranking in the first page, not linked to in the AI overviews. That's because simply the ranking on the first page is not just about the content, contrary to popular belief. And then hacks may work, and we will come across a lot of hacks, and the more they are used, the less effective they become. So here Cyrus came up with a mini case study, and I find it very interesting. He had a page that's ranking on the first page, and he wanted to get it cited in AI overviews. So he took the answer to that question or that keyword and from AI overviews and written something that's similar to it on that page, right? And he was in the top 10, so he got cited in the AI overviews. However, he did lose the rich snippet. And yeah, that's a hack, of course. You can try it. However, as I said, the more we try these things, the less effective they are. This is not a sustainable strategy. It may work for now, but not on the long run. Okay, user-generated content. It's a bit of a challenge, and we complain a lot about Reddit, Quora. Recently, I've seen random posts actually from Facebook groups, and sometimes just a Facebook group. So being linked to in search. And it's time we don't look at these as, social media platforms, it's out of our scope. They are in our scope now because they appear in search. So we need to think of these as microsites. You need to have some presence there, cooperate with the social media team. You need to have some presence there. If there's a group that's ranking, maybe you need to have some presence there with legitimate brand content, good quality, and exist there on Reddit as well. Maybe you want to pull all the PAAs from search. So yes, when we're optimizing content, maybe there's 20 or 50 PAAs in search about your topic, and you don't want to include all of these in your blog. Okay, why not take some of those and create some posts on Reddit about them and answer them as a brand, right? So think of user-generated content or social media platforms as microsites. Again, this needs to be a collaboration between social media teams, but if you look at the screenshot, this is the search results for Tesla Cybertruck. The last thing I would expect to see there is just a Facebook group link for a Cybertruck. I'm not sure, is this the most helpful? But apparently this is what people want. So this is where you should be, right? If you want to, if you're selling, if you're a reseller or whatever, maybe you want to be there providing helpful content, not necessarily huge, social media posts don't have to be long or anything. And you can mention your brand as well. All of these things are definitely helpful. No one knows all the answers right now. However, it's worth looking into and testing. I stumbled upon this accidentally, and Rick Steve Europe, this website is, in my opinion, a perfect brand. It's well established. If you search for who is Rick Steve on any LLM, they'll tell you that he's like a American travel entrepreneur. He's very well established. Why? He has all types of content, a shop as well there. He has blogs for tips. He has a forum, which is really interesting. I love that. And I in a perfect world, a forum is a community, right? And in a perfect world, you want to build a community around your brand. Obviously, that's not possible, but some brands can do that, right? And then they have content to watch. They have videos and they have podcasts. So in a perfect world, you want to be like Rick Steves. I understand there are blockers like resources or getting buy-in, but also remember that if you come with a recommendation, maybe you can give the stakeholders some ideas on how to create these things. So for example, you can use Notebook LM today to create a podcast on a blog that you have, right? Like it's never been easier to create podcasts or videos based off your blog. And the concept of create once, distribute forever, this is definitely worth exploring. So I highly recommend you have a look at this website. It's very basic in terms of design. However, it's very well established because it has a very strong brand, and brand is also very important to us. Okay, given all the stuff that we have just mentioned, the new tools and data. So reminder, we are all collectively using the same tools and data as everyone else. There's no competitive edge here. If you're doing keyword research for best running shoes, your competitor are also doing keyword research for best running shoes, and they're using, there are a few tools or specific tools out there. They're probably using one of them. Same tools, same data. There's no competitive edge there. And as I said, the more we use something, the less impactful it is. If we're all building our strategies on the top of the same data, using the same tools, there's no advantage there. How can you win if you're doing the same thing? This means we need new data or we need new metrics, and we need our own custom tools, okay, to have a unique edge. What new metrics? Okay, so first of all, there are existing metrics that we didn't use when we're reporting or analyzing SEO. Things like in GA4, for example, engagement rate, bounce rate, conversion rate, all of these things, time on page or dwell time, all of these things we need to look at and start analyzing because they matter when we're talking about ranking and improving, getting more traffic in this era, right? CTR. I think it's time we focus or shift the conversation from talking about ranking to CTR. And in 1 minute, I'm going to show you an example why. Focusing on improving CTR is gonna make you think differently than just improving rankings. As I said, you can improve rankings and still not get that much traffic. And sometimes the effort to move from the 5th position to the 1st position is not worth the amount of traffic you're gonna get. It's like really small, and the effort and cost is gonna be so high. So you wanna work on improving your CTR. And then we also need to start monitoring AI overviews visibility. There is you can use this tool in SEO ranking, brand visibility. I don't know why, but I've seen so many marketers, don't divide traffic by branded versus non-branded when they're reporting. I can't explain how important this is. And just remember that branded traffic can be a result of SEO or it can be a result of other channels. So there's a lot of moving parts. You need to make this distinction to be able to have a clear view of what is working and your actual performance. One more thing I don't want to skip, how PPC and SEO work together. Something for you to keep in mind. There's all this myth circulating that, for example, PPC shouldn't bid on brand words because SEO capture it. Actually, studies shown that if you're running a PPC ad and you're ranking in the search, your overall CTR is higher than if you have one or the other individually. Anyways, back to brand visibility. You need to monitor organic referrals from social. You need to the traffic from LLMs, share of voice, and then comparing your visibility with the competitors. Impressions are also important because the more people see you in search, the more brand aware they become. So impressions is an important metric if we're talking about awareness. If you're running an awareness campaign in SEO, if you're a new brand and you want to establish yourself, impressions is a good metric to look at. Okay. And then new metrics that you make yourself based on what you want to measure. So for example, one of the things I measure is content push. That's how I call it. I know other people may have different names for it, which is the average number of clicks per page, right? The purpose of this is you want to see, okay, on average, if I create a new blog today, how many, without doing any optimization, following the exact process we have been following so far, how many clicks would we get on average? And then you would be surprised sometimes 50 clicks per month per page, which is not a good number. So this is where you can get buy-in. Hey, we need to optimize this. We need to improve our content push, right? And then percentage of dead weight pages. You need to have an understanding of how many pages that are dead weight. You're just a burden. You're just moving around with a burden on your shoulders. So this is an example for a small client I did in the past. Total number of URLs that get 100 or less impressions. This can be your definition. You can say, no, I'm going to go for 1,000 impressions. I'm going to go for 1,000 impressions in the last 6 months, not 12. I went for 12 months because I wanted like a full cycle of all the seasonality and everything. So this is the total number of URLs that got 100 or less impressions. Maybe you want to go after clicks, right? Total number of URLs considered, and then you calculate the dead weight pages on the website. And this is one of the most powerful way to get buy-in for your content strategy, because you're basically going to tell them, this is the content you're creating, and 55% of this did not see the light, at least, because if you change the threshold of 100, this number will increase. So you're telling them 55% or more of your content has not seen the light of day in the last 12 months. Okay, these three metrics, that the ones I'm about to discuss, they're not mine. They're by a guy named Jason Bowman. I have seen it not this year, last year in Toronto IRL, and they stuck with me. They're very interesting. Traffic velocity, organic traffic over website age, and then keyword velocity, number of keywords over website age, backlink velocity, number of backlinks over website age, and website age starts by when the time your pages start to get indexed, right? All of these things, and you may come up with your own matrix depending on what you're trying to measure, but relying just on keyword difficulty, search volume, that's not enough anymore. More on this, I really like this example here. So we need also to track AI-driven traffic and use this data as directional. It's not 100% accurate. We understand that. I linked to the tweet and the tutorial here. Take this as directional. So what happened here is, in this example, he looked at the landing pages Perplexity is sending to the website via GA4. Okay, this page, on this page, and they go back to Perplexity and search for those questions, and they found their articles ranking there. And this can give you an insight how you're ranking, how you can improve that, why is something else being cited before you and you're not, right? So this is really good because, and also what structure or type of content or paragraph format that Perplexity is pulling from. So getting this granular and looking at those things and doing those measurements, it's not part of our usual process, but they need to be. New tools. Okay. Before I go on rambling here, if you look at this graph is for my website. I analyzed my CTR across the results, and I'm getting the highest number of clicks when I'm ranking between 5 and 6 position, right? So contrary to popular belief, if you analyze your own CTR, and I've did this using Python, and this is why I'm saying you need to build your own tools. This is one thing I built. If you analyze your own numbers, the average or the established data may not be, it's different than your average or your own data, right? And again, that's one reason why you should shift your focus from rankings to CTR. New tools, as I said, the DIY tools to automate your workflows. For example, you can create meta descriptions in bulk, or if you're doing a programmatic SEO, that would be very helpful. If you write good prompts that are customized, definitely gonna help you. And then data analysis like this custom click curve. But then we also want to use existing tools that are not traditionally part of our SEO stack, like Microsoft Clarity. Make sure we're using ChatGPT and LLMs the right way. For you to know, there are LLMs specialized. So for coding, for example, yes, you can use ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini, but you can also look for coding LLMs specifically designed to help you code, for example. So whatever you're working on, try to find if there's a specialized LLM for it, or you can just use ChatGPT. As I said, a lot of people don't use them enough yet. You're as good as your prompt. If you are trying to generate, whatever you're trying to generate, you're as good as your prompt. Avoid using, learn from other people's prompts, but don't necessarily use the same prompt. And then when it's good to use, so there's this recent experiment or thing that has been run by Ahrefs, the SEMO and BB, where they were judging Ryan. They had two people, Ryan and another person. Ryan has 14 years experience in marketing, and the other person is a newbie, and they were using ChatGPT for challenges. And Semo and BB were judging. I have a link for the video here, which output is better. And what you will learn from this is ChatGPT is good when there's a lot of ambiguity. For example, PPC copy, but not for a blog post or social media post. It's not going to look good, but PPC copy is really small. It needs to be very precise. Definitely go for it. And when there is a lot of ambiguity in the input, like you don't have enough data to come up with a concept, maybe you can go to ChatGPT and see what it has to say. Just make sure that it doesn't limit your thinking, right? So to wrap this up, what we know for sure so far, no one has all the answers. The only right answer is to be agile, be open to new ideas, test fast, be okay with failing because you will. Incorporate other strategies in your other platforms in your strategy. Brands connect everything. User experience has to be part of your strategy. Always be analyzing, always be testing. But remember, the more a tactic is used, the less effective it becomes. Yes, the last but not least, don't take radical measures. Don't say, hey, I'm going to block LLMs from accessing my website. I'm going to drop using schema. Don't just take those radical measurements yet, right? Without really thinking things through. And don't be casual with learning. Things are changing. This means you need to dedicate time and have a structured way of learning what's happening and to think even what you should be doing about all this. And that's it. I've been rambling for a while, so maybe I should take some questions now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sara. That was a wealth of information, that presentation, and we're certainly going to have that deck shared as well. We have a couple questions. We do have a bit of a time wedge here, though I do want to bring up one recent question from Stephen, Mr. SOS Solidimi. He actually asks, pretty much impossible to focus on all the points when working with smaller brands and smaller resources. What would your advice be to focus on for the best results when we're talking about LLMs and visibility in these new spaces?
So small brands actually have an advantage of being able to move fast, right? Don't think that just because someone is a bigger brand and they may have much more resources, which by the way, not necessarily the case, they will always win you. It's not the case because you are able to be more agile and experiment with things faster. So you have an edge there. Where to focus? There are things you can focus on that won't cost you a lot. As I said, Microsoft Clarity is free. You're going to compensate with more effort if you don't have the resources. So the less resources you have, you're going to do more effort to make up for that.
All right. Very good. Very good. Thank you. One more question, and then we'll finish up. What are some tools in the market that can help optimize SEO for LLMs? Baronaut Kelman says.
Okay. I wouldn't say there's a specific tool yet that I think this is the tool that would help you to do that. There's a lot of manual work you'll have to do yourself. You need to dig into use LLMs and search and see what's happening there and analyze on your own. I don't think there is something that's doing that yet.
Yeah, and you gave an example of researching GA4 to be able to see citation references and referrals, but that's almost reverse engineering. You really can't dig into ChatGPT to be able to see all the citations that you have, so you really have to reverse engineer from the questions that are answered on the pages to then be able to see what's really populating in the LLMs right now. Is that correct?
Yep, of course.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Sara. Like I said, a wealth of information, and I'm certainly going to dig into there and see a lot of the links and sources that you put there. So thank you very much for your time today, Sara.
Thank you so much, Aaron, for having me today.